Set. Good evening, everyone. I'm going to call the meeting to order. Would everyone please stand for a short prayer and a salute to our flag? Almighty God, grant us the wisdom to make those decisions that are in the best interest of our residents. May the Heavenly Father of us all bless those who have given the ultimate sacrifice in service to our nation, and may he watch over and protect our servicemen and women now guarding the gates of freedom. Salute to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Terry, statement of publication.
Mayor, take notice of this agenda, that this council meeting of the mayor and council being held on the 28th day of September 2015 has been advertised and posted in accordance with Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, 1975.
Roll call.
Councilpersons Buchanan.
Here.
Kilpatrick. McGill. Melendez.
Yes.
Novak. Rittenhouse.
Here. Okay, with that, we'll go right to the presentation of the Riddle Company and the football helmets. Gentlemen, if you would state your name for the record, please. Is that on, Jeff? It's going to take a while to warm up.
Dominic Violi.
Jeff Rexroth.
Just guys, before we begin, let me just give a little history of why I asked these nice gentlemen to be here this evening. I believe you heard a couple weeks ago, it was probably been a month now, we discussed the opportunity of using technology in our safety equipment, presumably football. So these guys traveled pretty far to come here tonight and give us a presentation. I did invite both leagues in town to come, but unfortunately it is back to school night, so it's really tough to get a babysitter. Even my wife couldn't come. So with that, I just want to say thank you to these gentlemen, and if you guys could all take a few minutes to listen to them, I'd appreciate it. So guys, go on ahead. Thank you.
Thank you. First thing, we're just going to look at about a 3-minute video that kind of explains what it is that the technology is. It's called Riddell Insight. We'll watch the video and then we'll break it down. We're only going to be here, 15 minutes most, maybe not even that long. So first with the video, please.
Easy to operate parts and is designed to accommodate a partial or full team up to 100. Riddell Insight is comprised of 3 easy-to-operate parts and is designed to accommodate a partial or full team up to 150 players. First is the player unit, a 5-zone sensor pad in the liner of the helmet that measures impact severity. Technology in the instrumented overliner analyzes the impact and assesses the alert based on current scientific research and publications. Next is the alert monitor. If an impact or sequence of impacts exceeds a certain threshold, an alert is transmitted wirelessly from the helmet to the alert monitor. The third and final part is player management software. A school or team has the ability to download player alerts to a team database. Here's how the 3 parts work together. An impact occurs, and the 5-zone sensor pad measures the impact. The instrumented helmet then evaluates whether the impact was above preset threshold levels. If an impact exceeds the thresholds, an alert is transmitted to the handheld alert monitor. The handheld alert monitor notifies sideline staff of the impact and the player's number. Here's what Insight analyzes. Insight uses HIT-SP, an advanced head impact exposure metric that combines the effects of 4 elements: the location and duration of the impact, and linear and rotational acceleration. Insight alerts are based upon player-specific thresholds: position, player level, single impact, and multiple impacts. Why is this analysis important? Despite increased awareness of the concussion signs and symptoms, some concussions still go undiagnosed. Riddell Insight provides another set of eyes on the field. It provides valuable insight into players' on-field experiences and habits, which presents an opportunity for coaches to coach them differently and help minimize head impact exposure. This valuable insight can lead to better performance, as it gives coaches and parents the information athletes need to become better players. It also gives players the information they need to learn to keep their heads out of the game so they can stay in the game. Why do football teams need insight? By adopting Riddell Insight, programs demonstrate a commitment to utilizing advanced technologies to help protect their student athletes, an asset that programs can highlight with current and prospective players and their families. Adopting Insight also gives the opportunity to schools and programs to demonstrate a leadership role in their community. Adopters of this new head impact monitoring technology will be leaders, proactive, forward-thinking programs operating on the forefront of player protection. Riddell Insight is the smart helmet technology, keeping players' heads out of the game so that they can stay in the game.
Okay, so what is Insight? Insight, again, that we saw, it's the player unit inside the helmet, and the alerts will come from a predetermined threshold for the players. So like this young man right here, we have 5 levels. We have youth, we've got high school, we've got college, we have professional, I'm sorry, that's 4, and then each position-specific player. So the thresholds are determined by over it's up to 2.3, 2.4 million impacts that we have actually cataloged from our SRS system, or our sideline response system. The sideline response system is far more dynamic and robust than this is. This is the little brother to the SRS. But we've been able to take all those impacts, those 2.4 million impacts, and come up with algorithms and then develop these thresholds. Now, the level is the top 1%, or 99% of those impacts are not going to alert, okay? So it'll just be the top 1% of those impacts that will alert if that happens. It's a coaching tool. We had a young man in Chicago several years ago that was actually alerting every day at the same time of day. The trainer finally went to the coach and said, "What are you doing at 4:15 in the afternoon?" Well, they were running kind of an archaic drill at 4:15 in the afternoon, and this young man was leading with his head every day. So they said, well, you've got to teach him not to lead with his head. Well, he kept leading with his head, so they just took him out of the drill. At no time was he concussed. At no time was he injured. He was simply alerting. So that leads us, again, to what is Insight. Insight is not a diagnostic tool. It's not a medical device. It is simply an alerting system that will alert if a player has received an impact above that threshold for his player level that is an actionable event. So you may get one impact, you may get no impacts. That impact may or may not be a concussion-causing impact. That's not what this is. This is an alert system. It's a second set of eyes, a third set of eyes. I was talking to Councilman Mendez earlier. Let's take that big hit that everybody sees on TV, that everybody oohs and ahs about. And the first thing everybody's doing is you're evaluating. Whether you know it or not, you're actually evaluating what that player's doing. Did he get up? Did he go to the right huddle? Did he look at his wrist coach? Did he do all those things? That's actually concussion protocol, whether you know it or not. You're doing that because you witnessed that hit. It was loud, it was significant, you saw it. How about that hit that happens on the other sideline where that young man is down in a pile in a scrum and somebody hits his head? If it's above that threshold, this monitor is going to alert that trainer or the assistant coach who's ever holding it at the time that there is actually an actionable event. Whereas nobody saw it, nobody heard it. So nobody's looking at him. This alerts, now we can start looking and start monitoring what that young man's doing. And at that point, your particular concussion protocols go into play. We don't recommend doing one thing over another. So if your protocol at that point in time is to pull the player, and evaluate, you pull the player and evaluate. If it's simply to watch him on the field or she, you do that. Okay? So again, alert system based on a lot of information that we've received over the last 10 years. Okay? How does it work? We kind of touched on that pretty quickly on the video. The impact occurs first. The player unit will analyze. If it's an actionable event, it will transmit to the alert monitor. The alert monitor works within about 50 yards of that event. So in this case, if we were to do your group or your groups, we would try to provide a separate monitor. A monitor will hold 150 players, as you saw. We would try to have a monitor for each level so that there would be someone at each practice that could accommodate that. If, for instance, and we've had some situations where a high school trainer might be on the golf cart going to the field hockey practice field, and there's an actionable event that occurs, when they get back within that 50 yards of that player unit's sending a radio signal the entire time during that transmission period, and when that monitor gets back within that 50 yards, it'll alert. It'll be time stamped, it'll be date stamped, it'll have the player's name and the player's number. And at that point then, the trainer, EMT, assistant coach, who's ever holding the monitor at that point, can go pull that player from practice and again start those concussion protocols. And that is the part of the act. What do you do when you get the alert? You act. You start your concussion protocols. Okay? Why Insight? Basically, it's the best way to put it. It's just it's another set of eyes. It gives everybody at every level, not just the little guys that we're talking about tonight, at every level, it gives you a better opportunity to teach and coach proper techniques. If we could do this, if you guys would put this in your program and never have an alert, then the coaching staff has done a great job because they've taught the kids to get their head out of the game. And that's where the coaching tool part of this comes in. The alert part is the important part from the perspective that if it alerts, we can get that player out and evaluate them. But the other side of that, and every bit as important side of that, is the coaching aspect. That if a player is continually, and stuff's going to happen. Kids are going to get out of position. Adults are going to get out of position. I mean, at every level, people are going to get out of position, and there's going to be an impact to the head sometime, somewhere. But if it's a continually happening, the same kids, same time of day, like that young man in Chicago, it's a coaching opportunity. And at this level, if we can get the kids to play without their head in the game at this level, then they're not going to play with their head in the game as they continue to progress up. Okay? And we don't, the software is really not, I mean, that's all just ties everything together. So I'm going to give Dom an opportunity here to talk a little bit, and we're going to certainly be here for questions and answers, and if somebody wants to touch and see it a little bit, I don't know how much time, I don't want to take too much time for passing product around, but we are available for that.
Thanks, Jeff. These are the youth helmets that we brought. This, since it's going to be youth players that are interested in this, correct? We have 6 youth helmets to date. The only 2 that can go into are the Speed and the Youth Speed and the Youth Flex. The Flex is the newest model that just came out. I just wanted to touch on how we continue to try and reach that player protection. We try and get better all the time, and our engineers are always at it. And with what they've come up with in these 2 helmets, it's incredible. I just wanted to touch on the quick release. I don't know if everybody's familiar with it. You mind just taking that for a second? You can hear me okay?
Hey, coaches, if you guys want to come up closer, there's like some seats up here.
Changed their protocol for the first time since 1988. So when transporting a player,
1998.
Yeah. is absolutely, I do a lot of fittings every year. I take a lot of pride in what I do, and I take a lot of pride in the company I work for. But I fit thousands of players every summer, and fitting a player into this helmet as opposed to other ones out there on the market, it's like night and day. And it's a comfortable fitting helmet, but to me, fit equals protection, and these are the easiest helmets to fit by a long shot. The Flex is the newest one out. This is still one of our biggest sellers. They're both fantastic helmets, and the unit goes into both of those.
As far as the unit in the helmet, there are some competitors that have a alerting system, and if anybody watched any arena football this past year, they were wearing on the back of the helmet in this area, it looked like a pack of chewing gum that sticks to the helmet, and it's got a red light and a green light. The biggest difference between that product and this product is that product actually alerts when there's a hit to the shell of the helmet. This product will not alert unless there's a head inside the helmet. So it's monitoring an impact to the player's head. And this small, very, very, very thin electronic unit is actually underneath the black overliner that's in here. So it's between the overliner and the protective padding. And it's kids, you know, that have gone from this without the unit and then this with the unit, see no difference, feel no difference. There's no weight to it at all. It's simply, it's like, it's just basically a new helmet. They put it on, they get used to doing what they're doing with it. So the big thing is this will alert only when there's a head inside, and so the impact is directly to the head and not to the shell of the helmet. Okay? Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Just these two. No, it's designed specifically for, in fact, this particular unit fits in this blue one and this red one, and the configuration for that one, for the Speed Flex, is completely different because the interior is different, so the overliner is different, or in that case, the Flex liner. So they're specific to the Riddell product. These two products are the only two. And again, as Dom said, we have 6 youth helmets available. These are the only two that product will fit in and work in. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I'm sorry. Any other questions? By all means.
Hi, my name is Jerry Elson. I'm the Recreation Director in Camelback. I did some research on the web. I looked at your line, and I have a bunch of questions. Just to start off, has Riddell done any studies that shows if there's a particular age group that has a higher incidence of concussion than any other age group?
No.
How does it affect the youth? Is it more youth? Is it more high school?
We've not done anything, so I'd be guessing to tell you that there's more at one level or another.
What percentage would you say, if you know what percentage of youth organizations are using the Insight technology?
Very, very small number of youth. Very small number at this point.
How old is the product?
The product's been on the market for about 3.5 years.
And you have beta organizations?
We do not. We do.
There would be a beta organization where we get a substantial savings of some sort if we did.
We've worked out some pretty aggressive pricing. Yes.
The actual sensor itself, is that replaceable?
What the player unit actually needs to go with the helmet every year to be reconditioned, and the player unit will get recalibrated and get a new battery every year.
Okay, so it is battery operated?
It is because it's new. I mean, again, 3.5, 4 years. We're kind of basing our original mindset, our original basically guesstimate was 4 years, because we were thinking high school, college at that point in time. We've gotten a little bit more out of that. Like my batteries actually in this red helmet and this player unit have been active for 3 years, and they haven't crapped out. But it's gone into sleep mode when I'm not using it as a tool.
How about warranties? Kids throw helmets around or anything, water, anything. Is there any warranty on the sensors or the helmets themselves that we?
Well, the helmet carries, the youth helmet carries a 3-year warranty, the shell, and a 10-year shelf life. The sensor, we're giving a 1-year warranty on. They're pretty much waterproof. The only thing really that'll damage the sensor, and if you would see this one, because I've kind of not been really good with it, it's got a little crinkle in it, and if anybody knows anything about electronics that are this thin, that'll cause a problem. But if it's installed inside the helmet properly, the kids can't do any damage to it. The only way the kids could do damage is if they pull it out.
You mentioned the software that goes along with this product. Are the software updates free?
Yes, absolutely.
Is there a software backup? If, say we have a problem, something goes wrong, is there any service available?
Yeah.
Call and find out?
Yes, right there.
Okay.
No, we actually have a team in Rosemont, Illinois, that we call our IQ team, headed up by some people that are way smarter than Dom and I, and they're there on a toll-free call to walk you through it. We'll be here to walk you through it if we've got to come out and look at it if there's a problem. The software actually there's not a lot to it once you get the player units synced to the software and to the monitor. All of it on the back end is for you to do. You can build your own spreadsheet, and you can keep a listing of who impacted when, and do whatever kind of breakdown you want to do.
Now, the handheld device that you were showing us gets the information on it of the impact. Is that connected to by web or something to the software program?
You just plug it into the laptop and it'll download it automatically.
So who has access to that information? Do parents have access?
Only if you give it to them.
Okay. Is it something? He just gave you a spreadsheet material before.
Jerry, if you would, one more question, because we're really not set up for the public Q&A on this tonight. Ricky's got to add some stuff. No, it's your job, and you're doing your job. No. One more question, if you got it.
Any questions from parents or coaches?
Well, the helmet itself, go ahead, Dom, just retail.
Retail? The Flex helmet is $325. That's the retail, but we gave Ricky some real good numbers on that to work with. And the regular Revolution Speed Youth retails at around $200. And he also got some aggressive pricing there.
And the player unit retail, the list price is $200 on the player unit.
How much additional is from the helmet to electronics? How much electronics add?
200.
And for $200, you're doing a 1-year warranty. So after 1 year, the electronics can go at an additional $200. So the players are each getting one piece of monitor for $200.
No.
Under your warranty. Say it's a 1-year warranty.
Sure.
So if you were convinced your product that it's technology and it's, why would you want your warranty? It's a lot of money, $200 to monitor a hit for 1 year. These helmets are going to be lasting for 10 years.
Correct.
Players, it's only given a 1-year warranty on technology.
It's a warranty. We're not saying that it's only going to last for a year. Okay.
That would be a 3-year warranty. But that's a lot of money to ask people to pay for a 1-year warranty.
And I would imagine that might change too.
And
Right, yeah. Right now, it's 1 year.
we haven't had any fail in a year. I'm
I mean, that's what you're paying for the electronics. Right? And I'm sure we quite expensive to fix it in the place. You even have submitted it on the course to fix it.
if one of these units goes, if it's the brains basically where the battery is, that can be fixed. If a unit gets torn, that can't be repaired.
Is there a cost for repair? Do a sheet?
No, No, but I just said earlier that a battery gets changed every year for $10. No, I didn't. I said a battery gets changed every year for $10, and the unit gets recalibrated every year during reconditioning.
Okay, are there any other questions from parents? Go ahead. About this football helmet.
Do we have this for any schools, high schools, colleges that are using it now?
Absolutely. A lot of things.
There are, and we're, you know, we would need to get permission from those schools to let you know who they are, and we can do that, and we will, but we need to get permission from those schools to give you that information. Yes,
Quite a
yes,
few.
Yes.
Quite a few.
All right, so Councilman Melendez is going to put together a meeting with the Panther organization and the Leprechaun organization so that there'll be a thorough vetting by the teams and the parents. Councilman Melendez?
Yeah, I mean, they were supposed to be here. There's some representation. And
Back to school night.
it is a bad night. The numbers that you gave, let's formalize a final quote. I'm going to give you the exact quantities that we're looking for based on the number of registrations that we have. I think I gave you some baseline numbers that may not be exact, but
Okay.
I'm going to put that together, and I'll have a discussion with the other organizations. What I do want to discuss, though, if we can, we did have some funding we talked about in the last meeting. We did have a rebate coming back from some technology upgrades that we did, and I'd also like to reach out to Wayne to see if there's any other money in the budget based on recreation activities that we could apply to this.
Well, I could comb through our previous appropriations for other items and see if there's any money available and have it reprogrammed for the helmets. If I, you know, just give me some time to review the accounts and see what's there.
All right, so what?
Looking to do this, maybe we should contact the Board of Ed and see if we could get schools, JV, and varsity involved and get a better price all the way around. For instance, it's their older kids, and maybe we could get the Board of Ed involved. And
I could definitely reach out to them. Next.
Instead of funding maybe two programs, why don't we fund one program? The programs are summer. Tom's got 3 teams. Anthony's got 5 teams. You guys have funding.
That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, well, it's up to you guys, right?
Well, let's see, we don't know what the price tag is yet.
What I'm saying is making the town funding one football team.
I understand, but we don't know what the price, we can't commit until we know how much.
Yeah, right now, we're going to base it on the number of children that we have today. That's what the proposal is going to be.
Okay, fellas, if you would, if you want to bring it back into the meeting room back there, and any of the football parents, football players who want to get into the nuts and bolts of your product can certainly do so.
Mayor, may I ask a question before they leave? The Flex helmet was $325 base price and the Speed was $200. Is that a technology-based difference, or what's the difference in the pricing of those?
Basically, newer technology that just recently came out.
Okay. Now, the electronics is just a mode to educate the medical staff or the coaches on the hit itself, but what do you have inside the helmet to help protect the kid's head?
Well, that's,
What
the helmet
technology?
speaks for itself. The Speed, the Youth Speed has a padded overliner, which is machine washable, antimicrobial, and you've got inflatable jaw pads, which no other helmet in the market has. Riddell is the only inflatable, all of our helmets have inflatable jaw pads, called S-pads. And as far as the technology, it's better than no other.
Okay.
And if I can just add one more thing. I've done this for 25 years because of my passion for protection, and obviously I'd come down and fit your place. I'm recently named a regional manager, but I'm taking this on myself, and I would fit every player like it would fit anybody else, like my own son. So I take a lot of passion in this, and that's where we're from.
Okay, so fellas, Mary, if you would, go ahead.
I just want two questions. Number one, the recalibrating, is that part of the cost, or is that going to be an extra fee? I know the battery is $10.
That's, the recalibration and the battery are $10 every year, part of the reconditioning. And again, we put together a very, very, very aggressive package for the reconditioning for the first year.
And also, the effects of head injuries are cumulative. Will this keep track of the
Yes.
child?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes, in fact, if the way Insight works is single impacts and multiple impacts, and if there's multiple impacts, and picture it being a funnel, if there are more, if the impacts are falling through the funnel before there's more coming in, you won't get a multiple impact. But if there's too many piling up, that's when we'll get a multiple impact, and actually the level drops from 99% threshold to 95, and this is something we take very seriously, because that second impact syndrome is where a lot of concussions do come from. So that first impact, start your concussion protocol. Hopefully, if your protocol is to pull that player off the field, missing, he might miss 3 or 4 plays, but it's better than missing 3 or 4 weeks.
All I mean is that from game to game.
It's
You
in
have somebody that's,
it's in a 7-day time frame. Yes. So those 2 games would be, and quite frankly, there's actually more impacts being registered during practices than there are games.
Okay, are there more football coaches, parents? Okay, we're going to bring it back into room
Mayor, can we just have,
310.
excuse me, can we just have one more question, and then
Go
you
ahead.
guys can move to 310?
Hopefully you would have, hopefully. But again, this is not diagnostic, and it's not a medical device. Absolutely.
The child is on the field and he wants to keep going, doesn't want to stop. Okay? So,
And you didn't take him out of the game, right?
I think about it again, I have no clue.
Right.
If I knew I had this helmet, I would know the child, I would have took him right out. Yesterday I had a game, one kid got hurt on me, as soon as I got hit, I took him right out. His head started hurting, took him right out, that's it, you're done.
Okay.
Then I had parents tell me, well, how do you know he has a concussion? I don't know. I do like, I do my analysis on him, and it's my judgment call simple as that. So
Thank you.
When it comes down to as far as cost, to me, it's not an object.
Well, we got to have the money first. We got to have the money first.
I'm sure we can come up with money.
I'm not doubting that, but first, by law, we have to first allocate the money. But with that, I'm going to ask the gentlemen if they bring their product into the meeting room, and any of the football parents, coaches. I see we have a player. They want to go in and take a
You can
look
use
and
room
take it
310
apart.
right in the back, Jerry.
And I do want to thank you tonight
Thank you
for
very
coming
much.
to the
We
Borough of
appreciate it.
Sayreville.
Thank you, gentlemen.
informative.
Coaches, if you could help the Rydell people, I'd appreciate it. Okay, I want to thank Councilman Melendez for researching this and contacting the Rydell Company and having them come in tonight and give a brief presentation. With that, we'll go to old business. Terry?
Mayor, we have a public hearing on the following ordinance, ordinance number 306-15, bond ordinance, further amending bond ordinance number 224-13, finally adopted on July 22nd, 2013 by the Borough of Cyril County, Middlesex, State of New Jersey, in order to provide a change in the improvements authorized by such ordinance.
Councilwoman, at this time, I'm going to open the public portion for questions or comments on this ordinance. Are there any questions or comments? Being no questions or comments, I'll entertain a motion. Councilwoman Novak.
Yes, Mayor, I move the public hearing be closed, the ordinance adopted on second final reading and advertised according to law. Can you?
Second?
Is there a second? Roll call? No, you can't.
Didn't even hear myself.
Councilperson Buchanan,
Yes.
McGill,
Yes.
Melendez,
Yes.
Novak,
Yes.
Rittenhouse.
Yes.
Introduction of the following ordinances. Ordinance number 307-15, an ordinance supplementing and amending ordinance number 303-15, and finally adopted on August 24th, 2015, amending Chapter 2 of the revised general ordinances of the Borough of Saraville, Section 2-15.5D, Jackson Park fees.
Councilman Melendez. It's introductory.
Yeah, I got it. I move the ordinance be approved on first reading, advertised according to law, and a public hearing be held on October 13th, 2015.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call?
Councilpersons Buchanan?
Yes.
McGill?
Yes.
Melendez?
Yes.
Novak?
Yes.
Rittenhouse.
Yes.
Introduction of the following ordinance, ordinance number 308-15, an ordinance supplementing and amending ordinance number 15 of the revised general ordinances of the Borough of Saraville to amend Section 15-1.7, permit fees, uniform fire code, and non-life hazard use fees.
Councilman Buchanan.
I move the ordinance be approved on first reading, advertised according to law, and a public hearing to be held on October 13th, 2015.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilperson Buchanan?
Yes.
McGill?
Yes.
Melendez?
Yes.
Novak?
Yes.
Rittenhouse.
Yes.
Introduction of ordinance number 309-15, an ordinance supplementing and amending ordinance number 299-15, finally adopted on August 10, 2015, amending Chapter 8 of the revised general ordinances of the Borough of Saraville, Section 8-20, to correct and add fee for certification of a vital statistic record.
Council President McGill.
Thank you, Mayor. I move the ordinance be approved on first reading, advertised according to law, and a public hearing to be held on October 13th, 2015.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilpersons Buchanan?
Yes.
McGill?
Yes.
Melendez?
Yes.
Novak?
Yes.
Rittenhouse.
Yes.
That's all I have, Mayor.
Okay, this time I'm going to open the public portion for questions or comments on consent agenda items. Are there any questions or comments? Being no questions or comments, I'll entertain a motion. Council President.
Thank you again, Mayor. I move the public hearing be closed and the consent agenda resolutions be approved on roll call vote.
Second.
Roll call?
Councilpersons Buchanan?
Yes.
McGill?
Yes.
Melendez?
Yes.
Novak?
Yes.
Rittenhouse.
Yes. Okay, at this time, I'm going to open the public portion for questions or comments on any and all issues. Are there any questions or comments? Being no questions or comments, I'll entertain a motion.
I move the public portion be closed.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Take a motion to adjourn, and then we'll reconvene for the agenda meeting.
So moved.
The executive session here.
Do we have an executive session?
Do you have that personnel matter?
Did it?
No, we did not. I talked to you about it, Mike. Yeah. I don't know whether to do it here or at the agenda, but we got it.
Do it at the agenda. Right. Well, the agendas, go ahead.
What I would do is, in light of the fact that, and I apologize for this, apparently
Do you have your mic on?
there is a need for executive session to discuss personnel, and what I'd ask, and I apologize, because I forgot my notes, if we can go just into a quick...
Do we need to do it now or at the agenda meeting?
I'd do it now, get it over with, because we don't need an exec at the agenda meeting. So what I'd ask...
Taking action?
If the people agree. We could if the people agree.
Does anybody know what we're talking about? I mean, I don't know what we're going into executive.
Well, we can
I mean,
just-
one of the council people does, but nobody else seems to know.
well, again, that being said, we can...
Well, that being said, there's a lot being said,
It deals
because I
with-
sit here as the mayor.
It deals with the purchasing agent's position.
Be nice if if this was on the agenda so that we had some heads up as to what we're doing here, rather than it being a little surreptitious like this. Go ahead.
Again, Mayor, I apologize if it's surreptitious. It wasn't meant to be that at all, Your Mayor. So, that being said, pursuant to the motion that's been made, whereas this public body is of the opinion that such circumstances presently exist for a closed session, now therefore be it resolved by the Mayor and Borough Council of the Borough of Saraville, County of Middlesex, State of New Jersey as follows. The public portion of this meeting is hereby adjourned in order that the governing body may meet in closed private session for approximately 5 minutes to discuss the following matters: personnel, Following the conclusion of said closed session, the governing body shall reconvene the open portion of this public meeting considering matters which may be properly before it at this time. The nature and content of discussion of this matters which occurs in closed session shall be made public at such time as the need for non-disclosure no longer exists. This resolution shall take effect immediately.
Is there a motion? Second. All in favor? Aye. We'll be 5 minutes. Taking a motion to go into open?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Take a motion to adjourn? Oh, I'm sorry. Let me read it. Read it. Speed read. Everyone would.
Mayor, coming out of closed session, we have the following resolution to be read in full. Whereas the mayor and council appointed Danielle Marinara to the position of qualified purchasing agent on August 10, 2015. And whereas Danielle Marinara has been performing the duties of purchasing agent since February 2014. Whereas it is the desire of the mayor and council to fairly compensate the employee for performing the duties of the qualified purchasing agent. Now therefore, be it is hereby resolved that Danielle Marinara be paid $69,964 effective July 1, 2015, and $78,126 effective July 1, 2016. Be further resolved that this resolution shall take effect immediately.
Is there a motion?
Mayor, we have to
Open it.
Open to the public. Any questions or comments on this? No questions or comments? Entertain a motion.
I move that the public portion be closed and the resolution adopted on roll call vote, sorry.
Is there a second?
Second? Second.
Roll call.
Councilpersons Buchanan,
Yes.
McGill,
Yes.
Melendez.
Yes.
Novak.
I'm sorry, yes.
Rittenhouse.
Yes.
Take a motion to close the
I
council.
move to adjourn.
Second?
Is that what you wanted?
All in favor?
Aye.
Terry, how long?
Nothing has changed in front of you, so if you don't want any fresh copy, you really don't need one.
Oh, okay. It's the same one.
Nothing's changed.
Nothing's changed. Yeah, it's not.
Wow, we
We,
survived.
we really are well preserved here. Oh, I didn't read this. I didn't read it for my stuff.
Okay, I'm going to call the meeting to order. Would everyone please stand for a salute to the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God,
Indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. One and up.
Carried notice of publication.
Mayor, take notice that this agenda meeting of the mayor and council being held on this 28th day of September 2015 has been advertised and posted in accordance with Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975.
Okay, all business. Call out if you have any questions.
Take
or
roll call
comments.
first, Mayor. Roll call. Councilperson Buchanan.
Here.
McGill.
Here.
Melendez.
Yes.
Novak. Rittenhouse.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay, ordinance 30715, 30815, 30915. Committee reports, Councilwoman Novak.
Yes, Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to receive and file the following reports as listed 1, 2, and 3 on
Second.
the agenda. Also, I'd like approval. We need approvals for the bingo and raffle licenses as listed on the agenda 1 and 2.
Is there any objection? Next item.
Mayor, everything else is progress. While I have my finance committee here, is it possible to have a finance meeting before the next council meeting? That will be Tuesday, the 13th. Does it look good for you guys? You're not around.
I'm not on.
Oh, okay, sorry. Will you be available? Will you be available? Yes, I will. Okay. Art, does it look good for you?
When are we going to have it?
6:30, well, maybe 6.
Oh, on the 13th.
On the 13th?
Yes.
Good, thank you. And that's all, Mayor.
Thank you. Planning and zoning, Councilman Buchanan.
Thank you, Mayor. I move the following minutes, reports be received and filed. The construction officials report, zoning and code enforcement report, and fire prevention report of the August 2015, board adjustment minutes of August 26, 2015, and the Middlesex County Planning Board minutes of June 9, 2015.
So moved. For a second.
Next item.
We have a request for construction fees and elevation permits, the fees to be waived. What will be the process in that?
I I don't, I believe that the resident had a heart attack that prevented him from doing the work, and he felt that if he didn't have it, he would have qualified for the waiver. That was
Any
based on
objection to
correspondence.
this? No objection. Next item?
For clarity, that's just for this one particular resident?
Correct.
Okay, thank you, Mayor.
Anything else, Councilman?
Just, I want to thank everyone involved with the Cerebral Day event yesterday. It was a great event. Thank the Public Works, the Cerebral Day Committee, first of all, the Public Works Department, the police, first aid, the police auxiliary, all the vendors that came out. It was a great day. Fortunately, we had to get, it was rained out 2 weeks ago, but we were able to get it through yesterday, and I want to thank everyone for coming. Other than that, the only other thing I want to just bring up again, touch on again, was the sewer building and what we can do with that, where we are in that. Jay?
Mayor, we provided you a report. We did receive bids. The bids exceeded the budget. That means we can actually go through and negotiate a contract. On your consent agenda at your last meeting, you approved that. So now it's a matter of the administrator and the attorney negotiating a contract for available fees. I've had some preliminary discussions. I have something that I think would be acceptable that I'm going to review further with Mr. Frankel now that the resolution's been adopted.
Okay. Thank you. Progress.
Okay. Public Works. Who does
I'm
Public
two.
Works? Okay, so
Vicki's.
Mary, you would?
Okay. I'd like to make a motion to receive and file following minutes, department reports, a supervised report for the month of August 2015.
Is there a second?
Second.
Next item?
Also, received requests from Our Lady of Victory's HSA for approval to hang promotional banners advertising their annual Christmas bazaar on school and church property from October 12th to November 16th at the intersection of Washington and Bissett Street.
Any objection? Next item?
That's it, Mayor.
Thank you. Recreation, Councilman Melendez.
Thank you, Mayor. The Recreation Director's report for the month of August 2015 to be received and filed.
Okay. Anything else?
Yes.
Anything else?
And just to add, yes, great job by Patty Birch and the Recreation Committee. For Cerebral Day, it was an excellent day. And also don't forget that there was a car show on Saturday. It was absolutely fabulous as well. A lot of the, obviously that event was postponed as well, but with that we still had a very high turnout of cars and residents. So I want to thank Jerry and the department for doing that, because it's very difficult to reschedule these things. Cerebral's a great town. We had a lot of people from out of town come in, which I think is fabulous because they get to see what we're all about, and that is really cool. Just to add to Jerry's recreation report, the Hit the Bricks race has moved to the Nature Preserve and changed to a 5K run, and that will be held on Saturday, October 10th, at 9:30 a.m. The race begins at the soccer field. You can register online at cerebralrec.com. And it's $25 for registration. I just have a couple of updates on technology. So we have two programs going on with the IP cameras that we've been talking about for the past year, which is basically a surveillance system for the police department, which is over IP, which is now a network-based solution that is scalable. What I mean scalable means that we can spread it, right? So the police will have access to be able to view any area in town. So looking at my notes from IT from Tom Bracken, right now we have a committed completion date for the police of October 20th. So I look forward to that being done. The second thing that's also important too is we're going to launch the Senior Center project too. That should be happening this week. We have some final quotes. The design is in place, ready to go. And meeting with the vendors and our IT director, it looks like based on award, if we can get that awarded soon, they can do it in less than a month into October. So in the next meeting, I'll have a better update for that. The Senior Center is one of the really important areas. There was an incident this morning. Some people think it was funny, but it really wasn't, where they vandalized the sign in front of the Senior Center, and it really wasn't cool. It was a joke, you know, it was kids, that's great, but if something would have happened at the front door, it could have been more serious. So having security at the Senior Centers Councilman McGill's, as public safety, is constantly pushing me for an update on where we're at that, so we're going to escalate that and push that forward. Finally, I just want to say I see some new faces in the crowd today, and it's pretty exciting to me because as I walk around and talk to people, I met people on Sayreville Day, a lot of people don't know what we do here. They know we have a mayor, they know we have a council, and that's it. And they think things just happen, or they complain that things don't happen. And I invite everyone. I'm like, come to the council meeting. Yeah, it's hard. It's 7 o'clock. It's Monday. I get it. A lot of my technology ideas will be put forward the way, by this time, I'm hoping next year, this meeting will be available online. We'll have live blogging. Because it's not just and I appreciate everyone that comes here. I see the same faces every week, and they're very committed. But there's about 45,000 other people here that don't come. But there's probably like 45,000 complaints every week. So we need to hear that, and we need to find better ways to do that. And I believe with technology and the internet and the way things are today, that's the way we're going to move forward. Technology is around us. It's not going away. It's only going to get bigger. So we need to take advantage of that. So that's kind of my big thing why I sit up here. This is why I want to move forward and continue with the work we've done, because it's important. This is our town. I love it here, and I don't plan on leaving. So I appreciate spreading the word and inviting all new people to the meeting. So with that, thank you. Progress.
Thank you. Water and Sewer, Councilman Rittenhouse.
Thank you, Mayor. Water and Sewer Director's Report for the month of August 2015, receive and file.
Is there a second?
Second.
Anything else, Council?
Okay, yes. Again, on Sayreville Day, I wish to thank everybody, the Parks Department, the Recreation, the committee, the Sayreville Day Committee, American Legion, Honor Guard, Foxmana from the high school under Mr. Kraft did a great job. Also want to thank the Lieutenant Governor for coming. Her schedule on Sunday, that was the only event she had scheduled, which is unusual for her, and she still made the commitment. She had made the commitment earlier, and she came. So we thank her, and we also had Assemblyman Coughlin and Freeholder Kenny at Sayreville Day, which shows people do have an interest in our community. One thing I'd just like to bring up, back in February, we switched attorneys for the Temple litigation. At that time, Mr. Buchanan told me he would get me the information on how much the RFP, how much we were paying, $170. We never received that. I still have not received it. The only RFP we have from Werner Lesniak is for $150, or $150 per hour. So what I'd like the council to do is ask for a rebate of $4,103 from Werner Lesniak at the rate of $150, not the $170.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second? Dies for lack of a second.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Public Safety, Council President McGill.
Thank you again, Mayor. Move the department reports. Move the following minutes or reports be received and filed. Number one, the Board of Health reports for the month of August 2015. Police Chief's report for the month of August 2015. Court Administrator's report for the month of August 20th.
Is there a second?
Second.
Anything else, Council President?
Quickly, Mayor, on my look at Raritan Street and the parking area there, I have come up with a couple of possible names that I need to have vetted, and I'll be in touch with the business administrator on that. The other item I would like to bring up here is last meeting we did talk about the proposed senior housing development on Ernston Road. The housing director did appear before Sarah, and Mr. Ambrosio sent a letter on to the council via the clerk. I think we can put this up for discussion tonight, which I would like to do, because I have both Mr. Gonzalez, the housing director, and the chairman of Sarah here to both speak, and I would like to go forward with that as quickly as possible right now.
You want to have the discussion now, or you want to finish the committee reports first?
We can do it right after the committee reports, Mayor.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Progress.
Okay. With that, my report, I always like Sayreville Day. I get to see people I haven't seen for most of the year. It's just great. You catch up with people, and very much appreciate the work the Cerebral Day Committee did. Even though rain days, you always have a problem, but once again, Cerebral comes through in the end, and I think a good time was had by all. Next thing was MacArthur Avenue, and has there been any progress on finding a solution for the 3 or 4 foot jungle we have growing out there?
There has, Mayor. A few things. One, I spoke to Fawn McGee, who you know very well, who has run the Blue Acre program. She has been in contact with Rutgers University and the College of New Jersey with their landscape architect programs. She has us, number one, in her mind right now. We don't know if there's going to be money that's going to be allocated to it, but at least they're talking about it. I also asked Bernie Bailey to give us a proposal, which I was going to discuss in my report, but I will discuss it now. That proposal would be hiring two ways, either outsourcing it to a Greenleaf Landscaping, which would be ending up costing us $75 per property to cut the grass, $25 to clean and weed whack, and $25 for trimming per property, that is, or in-house if we want to go ahead and one of two ways, either pay time and a half on overtime of $46.08 an hour, or to actually hire more employees that would have to cut. That's something I think that's for budget right now. That's a budget, I mean, it can be done, but that's a budget item that we'll have to...
What we were asking for was a solution for perhaps another type of planting, rather than going in there with lawnmowers, landscapers.
That's correct. So I think we have to wait for the Rutgers and the College of New Jersey. I don't think that's going to happen immediately. I think we're looking at probably in the range of towards the end of the year before they can, when I asked Fawn to talk about it, she also said there might be a possibility of college credit, so we can have landscape architecture students come, give us their ideas and what they may think. So it's in the works, but it's certainly not progressing as well. There's still a little bit of progress.
Great. Okay. Perfect. Okay, the last thing, this is the campaign season, the election season, the silly season. I wasn't going to mention it, but it kind of annoyed me. Starting back, they have, when you're in government, they have OPRA requests, Open Public Records Act. So you can ask for you can request information on virtually anything. I've had my personal and my public email. I had, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, a month ago, they wanted my calendar. But there's a company in Harrison, New York, and it's Opposition Research, and they must be on their 5th or 6th Oprah request about my job, how much I make, what my work schedule is. The most recent, which was I think Friday, they put a request in for what my pension is, what my medical benefits is. It's very expensive, and when you do draw a salary as a mayor, it's $5,500 a year. Because I work for the state, I don't draw a salary, but there's an awful lot of money being spent on this coveted role, and I just find it humorous. Former Councilman Bill Henry in the bank Oprah'd me on my job, so it's certainly a silly time, and it certainly is silly season. So with that, we're going to go to the proposed senior housing development.
Oh, thank you. Thank you again. Mr. Gonzalez?
Do you have a microphone, George?
George Gonzalez, Kimball Drive, West Sayreville, Chairman of the Sayreville Housing Authority. Thank you for the opportunity to speak a couple of words tonight. Per your recommendations, Mayor, we went before Sarah. We presented the same items that we presented to you the prior week, and the majority of the members there felt that it was a good thing for Sayreville. good thing for our seniors in town. And I personally look forward to going before the planning board October the 7th. I was contacted by the planning board secretary today, requested I fax her my presentation that I did here. And for Sarah, I did so. She's going to forward it to the planning board members. And I look forward to the day that this council moves forward with the project via resolution. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay.
Mr. Donovan?
With that, I'll go to the business administrator's report. Oh, Mike?
Mike Diadio, and I'm the chairman. Is this on? It's on?
Yeah, it's on.
And I'm the chairman of the Sayreville Economic Redevelopment Agency. The chairman of the Housing Authority did appear before us on Thursday. He has not been appointed as the developer yet. We have no redevelopment agreement. We did look at the property. I believe it's about 6 acres. Is that right? A little less than 6 acres. Right next to the mini mall up on Ernstton Road. It meets the criteria to be put in the redevelopment zone. Some questions did arise, Mayor, as to why the borough's been sitting on this property for ever, like forever. Like, it's a good piece of commercial property. It's not on the tax rolls. I wasn't even aware that Sayreville owned this property until George appeared before us the other night. Mayor, you've been up here 16 years and 3 years before that on the council. Is there any reason why the borough did nothing with it?
Why, say that again, Mike?
Is there any reason why you didn't do anything with it? Or?
Mike, the borough owns a third of all property in the borough of Sayreville.
Yeah, but you didn't do anything with this piece of commercial
No,
property. I'm just
I
wondering
didn't.
if there's a reason.
No, it's a crap piece of property, that's why.
And why do you say that?
Have you seen it?
Well, I know
Did you drive up there?
Yes, I did, as a matter of
So,
fact.
so one view, you have the back of a mini mall. The other view, you have this huge multi-million gallon water tank, the largest water tank in the borough of Sayreville. You have this enormous radio tower there. Then you have the back view of the Patel Food Market and the back view of the other mini mart. Then you have a wooded area, which is what you're talking about, which acts as a buffer between all of that, the back end of commercial development, mini malls, to a very nice residential neighborhood. So all of a sudden, 1 month before the election, there's this bum's rush to do
Incorrect, Mayor.
a
We are not-
redevelopment
nope,
for senior
nope,
housing.
No, we are not rushing
And I'm
things.
not getting this, Mike.
You're
So
not-
is there any reason why
Please,
4
please
weeks
don't make this
before...
political, because this
Mike,
has
because
nothing
you
to-
are most
it has
definitely
nothing
making
to
this
do with
political.
politics.
Absolutely, 100%.
We did not push this through Sarah.
Yep,
All we
okay.
did Thursday night was deem it in need of redevelopment. That's
And
it.
I hope I
It's
answered
not
your
approved
question
for a
succinctly.
No, actually you didn't, Mayor, because for
Well, Mike,
19
it's
years
never
this
gonna
property's
happen.
been vacant.
Make your point,
and
Mike.
You sit on the planning board for 16 years, even though you've never
Make
attended a
your
meeting.
point, Mike.
You've never attended a planning board meeting.
Mike,
But
is this a
you know-
political
No, Mayor, it's
grandstand
not.
from you?
This
Yes,
is
it
the
is.
chairman of Sarah telling
Finish
you
it up
that
and
you've
sit
been
down.
sitting. I'll sit down when I'm ready.
No,
and I'll
you'll
sit down. No,
when
I will
tell
not.
You to sit down
I have
because
the floor.
This is George's time,
No,
not
no,
your time.
it's my time. I'm
Sit
the chairman
down.
of Sarah, and I have the
You're
floor. I
done.
will not.
You're done.
No, wait a minute,
No, I'm
Mayor,
not.
wait a minute, wait a minute.
No, no.
Wait, no.
He's
I-
not
I
going to be
mentioned-
rude
I
and
brought up both
disrespectful
names
to the office of the
speak
mayor.
tonight.
Well, you're right. I have no respect for you or your office.
Mike, I could care less what
But for
someone like
19
you
years,
thinks
well,
of
I'll
me.
address the council now, and I won't address you, Mayor. For 19 years, the mayor's been sitting up here, and that land has been vacant. And we just found out about it Thursday night.
Jerry.
And I'm just curious as to
I'm in
why.
the middle of any political thing. I have the mayor asking me to do something.
Call
I have
the
my
police.
council president asking me to
Usually
do
we
something
have
else.
a
I am
police
not going to be in
officer.
the middle of
gentleman-
all
Can I have a
Stop.
motion to
gentleman
continue?
I can ask for the police.
No, you just, no.
Go ahead, Terry.
Let the gentleman speak.
Thank you.
Mike, finish up, would you?
I'm
You're
trying. Mayor.
grandstanding.
I'm just wondering why nothing was done with this property, and if this is the best use for it. I don't know how much taxes this is going to bring in. We haven't seen any agreements yet. It's only been deemed in need of redevelopment. We didn't see any plans for a
No,
senior.
possibly.
No,
possibly.
no. It meets the criteria.
It makes it, it's lain fallow for 10 years.
It needs
I
to
get
meet,
that,
right,
Mike.
it needs to meet 2 out
You
of 10.
better go take a look at it and take a look at the view. You better take
Mayor,
a look
the
at
view
this
doesn't
proposal
matter. It
and
meets
see if
the-
it's a
It
proposal
meets the
that...
criteria to be put in a redevelopment zone. It is the council's pleasure as to what gets put there.
Listen, you guys want to give it the bum's rush? It's a $17,
I'm not giving
$18
it the
million
bum's rush.
project.
Listen to him.
I'm trying to tell you, Mayor, is all we did is deem it in need of
Good.
redevelopment.
Good.
No plans have been approved. Nothing's being rushed through. It's your planning board now that has to approve it and make a recommendation to the council that it be put in the redevelopment zone. At that point, George will have to come back with plans, a redeveloper agreement. He has to be named the redeveloper. Things need to be approved by Sarah, and at that point, if it's accepted by Sarah, it will go back to the planning board. But the council has not made a decision yet, or hasn't voted on that land or that area as a redevelopment zone, so we don't know what can go there. So really, Mayor, everything's relying on the council now and the planning board, not Sarah. I'm not pushing anything through. Do you get it? Do you know how this works? If you attended a planning board meeting, you probably would.
Are you finished?
Now I am. Thank you.
Thank God. Okay, that being said,
Thank you, Mr. Diadio.
Anything else there, Council President?
No, sir, thank you very
no,
much.
very good. All right, Business Administrator's report.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to go under Administration and Finance. I had a meeting this past week with New Jersey manufacturers, and they have been approved by the State Banking and Insurance, State Bank agency now to actually offer to our employees, which is a great benefit, I believe, because New Jersey Manufacturers has proven to be a low-cost provider and a very excellent insurance company for their car, their homes, their boats, and we're going to be offering and rolling it out to our employees probably in the next week. So I just want the Mayor and Council to know that.
Next item.
Under Public Works, authorization to auction vehicles and equipment no longer needed for public use through the sealed bid process.
Next item.
Authorization to purchase leaf bags from Dano Group of Stamford, Connecticut through Somerset County Cooperative Purchasing System for an amount not to exceed $22,776.
Next item.
Is this the same one that we've always used?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
that's
Mayor, also, there was an email sent, there was a resident who was complaining about lights in Kennedy Park. And we worked with both our Public Works Department and with JCP&L. They did a great job. We replaced most of the bulbs. They were supposed to actually go out there on the car show day, but they moved it up earlier. It's been resolved. The resident was notified. She was very happy. So then we're making sure that most of our lights are up and running at Kennedy Park.
Okay. Next item.
Authorization to purchase and install playground equipment for the Senior Center Park and Jackson Street Park through the Middlesex County Regional Education Commission Service Cooperative Purchasing System from Game Time of Spring Lake, and the installation of World Construction, a certified Game Time installer, in the amount of $76,158.79.
Next item.
Can I just, something just in relation to the lights? I'd like to thank the Police Auxiliary. They actually went out and surveyed the entire town for all and identified any lights that are not working in the entire town. So I'd really like to thank them for that.
Next item.
And Dan, if I could real quick.
Sure.
I know we had problems with the soccer lights over there, and we had people out there trying to fix them.
They're overheating. We've looked at it. We called electrician in. It's being looked at right now. We had to shut them down for a period of time. They're back up now. I think that's something we have to monitor. It's probably something we have to put in the budget for next year for upgrades.
Okay. And I know some of the parking lights over there are out too, the parking lot lights.
At the soccer complex? If that's on the list that we've got, then we're going to be replacing them probably in the next 30 days, I would think.
All right, thank you.
That's okay. The other thing is, we were contacted by, we have used in the past a company by the name of Direct Install, which is a program that we have that we upgrading our lighting. The one building that wasn't finished was the library. So I would like, with your approval, to go ahead and work with this company again through PSE&G. Rebates are somewhere around 70% of the cost back. I think it's not going to be costing that much money, Wayne, to do this program, if that's okay with council. Oh, no, we need a reso, yes, we're going to need a reso. I just want to make sure it's okay, just for discussion purposes.
Next item.
And Mayor, authorization to advertise for the receipt of bids for the purchase of one Kohler generator from trailer set, which is, need the authorization.
Okay. Any objection? Anything else?
No, Mayor, I'm going to do it the next meeting because I just got this today, but I'll review it more at the next meeting. But just so everyone understands, especially the residents that are out there, we are in our end of the opt-out period of the energy aggregator. That was the last Friday. I'm going to be getting numbers and things like that. We may be getting some information back from them, but as far as we know, out of the program, only 1,376 opt-outs of a total of 14,700. So we're on track for just another successful program. I will give everybody an update, but I'm not prepared to do it at this time. But just so we know, the period was Friday, of the opt-out period, so we'll start getting some information for the next meeting. Thank you.
Okay.
Can I ask Dan a question? The redoing of the bus stops, where are we with that, do you know?
They were supposed to be starting the program, they said in the fall. Obviously, last week was the beginning of fall. I will contact them and then get you an answer.
Thank you.
Okay, Wayne?
Okay, everyone should have received a copy of the best practices inventory over the weekend. If anyone has any questions, I'm prepared to answer them. But just so I understand that everyone did review it, and if there's no problems, I'll file it. It has to be filed digitally down in Trenton. Anybody could ask me questions anytime on it, but if there's anything in particular or something somebody didn't agree with, we can go over it. But it does have to be filed within the specified deadline, so I just wanted to bring it up, and as part of the requirement is to bring it up at the council meeting to make sure that all the governing body is aware of it. So, like I said, you should have received it over the weekend. Okay. One other thing that's not on the agenda, on my agenda, but because the reports just came in today, the audit reports came in today from the auditing firm. You should review the audit report, specifically, if nothing else, the back of the audit report where the comments and recommendations are. I believe Terry will have a form that everyone will have to sign that has to be filed at Trenton, that every member of the governing body has reviewed the report in some fashion. So I just bring this to your attention. Terry may be prepared with the documentation at the next meeting. So that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Borough Engineers Report, Jay Cornell.
Thank you, Mayor. First item we've already discussed. Second item has to do with the DOT Trust Fund. At the last meeting, we were authorized to prepare grant applications. In order to submit those, we need to have a resolution from the Mayor and Council. So I'd ask that they be listed on your next meeting agenda so we can meet the deadline, which is October 20th.
Okay, thank you. Borough Attorney's Report. No report, Mayor. Thank you. Public portion. This time I'll open the public portion for questions or comments on any and all issues. Yes, sir. Now, if you need to come up, state your name and address into the record, please.
My name is Barry Stern. I live at 927 Main Street. I actually have two really quick questions, if the borough will indulge me a minute. My first question is for Councilman Melendez. A few minutes ago in your remarks, you mentioned something about a surveillance program for the police department. So am I to conclude from that somewhere in the near future, the borough is going to be erecting surveillance cameras at various locations throughout the town?
Right now, we're looking at public facilities, like the library, Borough Hall, police. If you're talking like street cameras, that's something to be decided, but right now, we're only concentrating on public buildings. That could be something down the road, maybe in the parks. We were talking about Kennedy Park. We've had robberies and things happen at night. So, but the point is, with the technology, it's scalable, which means we can add cameras everywhere.
Okay. And my second question is, when might the project at the end of Chevalier Avenue be completed?
Probably about 10 to 15 years.
By that time, it won't matter for me.
Well, it's not going to be like a light switch. It'll go in increments. So I think the first, they have to first build the new on and off ramp on the Parkway. The money is secured for that. It's in the design phase. So I think the first store will be ready 2017.
Oh, okay, because they've been working a couple of years already.
Right, right. They'll be working about 10 or 15 more.
Okay,
It's a long-term project.
thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Bill?
Bill Henry, Orchard Street. Mayor, I just wanted to comment. You mentioned my name earlier about doing Oprah on you. That was done a few months back. This other organization that you're talking about, I'm not involved with that or trying to get that information, but I think...
Somebody's paying them, Bill. They don't do it for free.
Well, not through me or anybody I know. But the reason they may be doing it is that you're not qualified for that job. You replace a person that had its doctorate. The qualifications required a master's degree at the minimum. You have neither. The fellow that you replaced, he actually designed parts for machinery to help things more efficiently. I don't think you have that experience, according to your resume. The fellow that you replaced was making $105,000, again, with his doctorate. You have no experience. The only thing that, with the litany of things that were on there that you needed to qualify for, the only thing you had was a driver's license. And you're making $110,000 for this job. And I think these are the kinds of things that people are upset about when people aren't qualified for these kinds of jobs. And you're making it sound like silly season. There's no way that you should be in this position, Mayor. And I think you should actually quit the job and get somebody else that probably is more qualified and someone that could do the job. They're probably wondering why you're there. Can you, is it a no-show job? That's why they're asking for these things, I would imagine. So that's probably the reason why these questions are being asked.
Well, I certainly know what the campaign issue will be. Anything else, Bill?
Well, because I had asked you some questions earlier, again, a few months back. Who gave you this job and who interviewed you? And you refused to answer those questions. Would you like to answer them today?
No employee is allowed to speak for the Department of Corrections other than those designated to do so.
Well, do you think you're qualified? Let me ask you that question.
Bill, I can't speak about my job. I've been instructed that I cannot speak about it. Only designated representatives of the Department of Corrections.
Can you tell me who I could talk to have these questions answered? I think that's something that that's a political answer, I think, Mayor. I think you can answer these questions. You're just saying this. That I don't know if there's any kind of ordinance for those kinds of things. Maybe you could bring it to the next council meeting and says that you can answer these questions. But for someone that, making $110,000, and the other issue is, too, that all you need to work is 3 or 4 years, and you're going to get lifetime benefits. You're going to get a pension of 50, 60% of possibly what you're making now for $110,000. You have people working a lifetime to get these kinds of benefits, and you have to work like 3 or 4 years, Mayor. I think these are the kinds of things that people are concerned about and why they ask these questions.
Anything else, Bill?
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions or comments? Ted?
Ted Peterson, Crestview Apartments, Route 9 North, Parlin. Last week when I asked Ms. Kilpatrick justifiable questions as to why she refused to answer phone calls to people being illegally evicted from their apartments, and Ms. Kilpatrick seemed to get offended by it, and at the end of the last council meeting, she made a statement, God bless Ted. Every council member here went downstairs to her car like she was a victim, because I simply asked, I'm being illegally evicted, and this council person who's in charge of that committee didn't return phone calls, didn't go to a rent control board meeting, allowed a meeting to be changed where I could be evicted, and every one of you went downstairs with her to her car like I was a criminal, like I was going to attack her. But all these people are attacking the mayor. Huh? Should I accompany him downstairs to protect him from you guys? The only one who ever returned a phone call is Mayor O'Brien to me. And you know what I have to offer him? Not a damn thing. Not a damn thing. But you people at the end of last meeting clapped for Victoria Kilpatrick for saying, Mr. Peterson, this is not my end-all and do-all. You can be evicted, but I pray it works out for you. But somehow I was an aggressor towards her. But you people allow these people to attack this mayor. Huh? And I see smiles and I see this. The only person on this council who has listened to me to date, who has tried to help the people of this township who are being affected by illegal rent increases, illegal evictions, is the mayor. The only person who ever returned my phone call is the mayor. The only person who offered to give me a letter to give to the court so I wouldn't be evicted is the mayor. Not one of you. I've asked all of you, can you help me? Can you help me? Wayne said, I don't want to get involved. I'm standing at the elevator last week and I hear anything else to discuss. And this is in a private meeting. This rent leveling board thing is not going away. Then this gentleman over here, I get threatened in the parking lot last week. I get threatened in the parking lot because I have the audacity. I have the audacity to confront Ms. Kilpatrick at a council meeting. But yet you tell people to come to the council meeting? For what? You going to help them? Have you done anything? Come on, guys. The mayor is the only one in this room who has offered me any assistance, and I've shown the documents, and they've all had a chance. I'm being illegally evicted by a corrupt landlord, illegally raising rents, illegally throwing people out of apartments so they can increase rents by $300, $400 a month. Homelessness is a big issue in this state. A big issue. People being afford to live within Sayreville. That's a big issue. But nobody seems to care except the mayor.
Ted, thank you.
Mayor, just one correction, Mr. Peterson. Ted? Yes. I did not go down and congratulate her, and I also did not applaud.
Okay, any other questions or comments?
I'd like to make some comments. First of all, everybody up here knows the council people do not run any boards. We are liaisons. We are to bring their problems to the council. We do not tell them what to do. We cannot tell them what to do. We don't start their meetings. We don't adjourn their meetings. We don't run their meetings. We are not required to be there, but if we so choose, we can. We're not in charge of anything. To blame Mrs. Kilpatrick for a meeting being adjourned because the lawyer of Crestview couldn't come is ludicrous. And Mrs. Kilpatrick at the last meeting, not this past meeting, but the one before, where she stood with you in the parking lot for almost 2 hours after the meeting, and she kept telling you over and over again, she kept... I sat in my car until Vicki was able to leave.
Ted, you'll be able to respond. We haven't closed this portion yet.
Okay. She was advised by counsel once you subpoenaed her that she shouldn't be talking to you anymore because we represent the town up here and you were subpoenaing the town to go to court. She tried to tell you that over and over again. You can't blame her for things that have been going. I read as much of your packet as I could. I'm going to tell you I didn't read it all. But you've been having these problems for over 2 years. And you've been constantly going to court. And none of us, I mean, Mrs. Kilpatrick, this is her first year on the council. The rent leveling board was totally unaware of your problems, I think, until May of this year. You've been battling them in court for 2 years. So your problems right now are really exasperated because of the length of time you didn't come and request help. And we're doing the best we can.
Ted, you're hot now. You're hot. Cool down a little bit. Bear, you're up. You'll be next, Ted. Just. By the way, Bear, nice showing at Sayreville Day. Very nice. Thank you for being there.
I'm Robert Kamigwitz. I live on 103 Erneston Road, and I was really disappointed today. I left my house at 7 o'clock, right? And I got the end to Washington Road about 22 after 7. That's how bad the traffic was there. I don't know what happened, but it was jammed up. With Sayreville Day, I think you did a great job, Ricky and Jerry. And sometimes Jerry and I, we go back and forth once in a while. But it was a real pleasant day, and a lot of people told me they really enjoyed it. The only thing is, people tell me that the hours should be different. They should be from 12 until 5 instead of 11 till 4. Now, I was there and I saw exactly, I got there 9:15, right? And by 11:45, I sold 9 hot dogs.
Coffee Bear. In the morning, we were all desperate for coffee and bagels.
I'm not changing anything. They don't change anything. That problem with the weeds down there, right? On MacArthur Avenue?
Yeah.
Can't you burn them out?
The problem is you have rodent infestation there. So if you cut them down this time of year, the rodents will infest, go into the homes, the local
Well,
homes.
what happens if you just set it on fire with fire trucks and run all the rats over the South River?
Well, that's Dan, write that down.
Did you ever hear that? South River rats?
Write that down, Dan.
I got one more thing. My memory's starting. I didn't remember my telephone number today.
I don't.
Oh, about these football helmets, right? They're very expensive, I believe. Now, I was talking to Jerry out there, and I said, well, these football helmets, will the kids take them home? Which, you know, kids are kids. And like for the peewees, do you need these for the peewees? I don't think so. Because those kids don't make any hard hits, or they're like little girls playing out there. So, would you have it? Would you have it for the peewees, the little guys?
Be determined, Bear. To be determined.
Yeah. What do you think about it, Ricky?
Well, I don't know where you can put a price on a child's brain.
I mean, there's no hard hits with them guys.
You know, at that level,
And
they're small. But again, I can't put a price on a kid's brain.
And I want to tell you something about head injury. I know very well I could be a doctor. My daughter got hit 30 years ago with head injury. She almost died on me. It took me 4.5 years to get her home, and she was still in diapers when I brought her home after 4.5 years. I worked a lot with my daughter, and I still do. And a head injury is the worst thing you could have. She would have been better breaking 50 bones in her body than having that head injury. She is normal. If you talk to her, you think she's fine. But if you ask Kim what day it is, she has no idea. We could go have supper, right? Where'd we eat? Did we eat? The only place she remembers is Atlantic City. When we go down there, she'll remember that on the way home, because I guess all the bells and stuff. But like I said, Cerebral Day was really good. It's the best one I've seen there. And them rides, those big blow-up rides, they were fantastic. Because the kids really enjoyed them. They told me that, you know. And that's about it. The little kid come up, he'd seen the bear hanging over there, right? So he said, what's that bear? That's a bear. I said, yeah. I said, what would you do if that bear came after you? He ran around a big circle. He said, I could run faster than that bear could run. He said, the bear's dead. A little 5-year-old telling me that. Thank you for your time. I'm going home and watch football.
Thank you, Ted. Thank you, Bear.
Mayor,
Ted, you're up.
Mayor, while he's coming up. Bear, just real quick. It's not only the hits, head-to-head hits for the players. You're also worrying about a kid falling down, getting hit in the ground with their head, or getting hit in the head with the knee. This electronics would pick those up as well. So it's not just head-to-head and how hard they're hitting each other, but it's also them falling to the ground, hitting their head on the ground.
And the truth of the matter is, you don't always know. That kid that had the concussion this year, he played the whole game. He went home. Nobody knew. His mom didn't know until he ended up in the hospital next day.
Ted?
Thank God.
In response, I am not looking to fight with anybody on this council. I am not looking for enemies or friends. I am looking for the right thing to be done for the tenants of Sayreville, that they are afforded the protections that the rent leveling board is supposed to provide, that they are treated with the respect and dignity of homeowners, because they are equal. And in fact, they are paying more for their apartments today than homeowners are in mortgages. The average person in New Jersey right now is paying over 40% of their salary for rent, just to rent an apartment. It's becoming a major homelessness issue within this state. We need affordable housing for tenants. For this council to not be offended by a man who pays his rent every month on time, and despite that has faced 7 now, multiple illegal evictions, ranging from having a pet, which I pay pet rent for, to putting an air conditioner in my window, to spitting on the ground, to get people out of their apartments so that they can get new tenants who are not subject to the rent increases, and they can raise the rents to $300 or $400 a month. They are now charging upwards of $1,100 to $1,300 in this township for a 1-bedroom apartment. That's insane. And I know you're an animal lover. They're charging $25 a month for a cat. That's $300 a year you pay to have a cat in your apartment. So an average cat lives 15 years. These people are charging tenants $4,500 over the life of that pet to live with you in your apartment with no expense to anybody. This is what's being done, guys. I'm asking the council. We have a rent control board. We have ordinances. We have rules regarding rent increases. Please help me make sure that they're followed. Please help me just get action on the illegality of the evictions and the rent increases that I'm being faced with. That's what I'm asking, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Ted. Just for the record, about 35 to 40% of the residents in Saraville rent. I think in South Amboy it's like 60%. So there's a very high percentage of renters in this area of New Jersey. It's very desirable, and not everybody wants to own a home or can own a home. It's a major part of our population, and it's not short-term and transient as we all think. It's very long-term renters for the most part. So are there any other questions or comments for this open portion? Being no questions, George?
George Gonzalez, Kimball Drive West. This is the type of gentleman that we're trying to help with that new project on Erston Road, Mayor.
Is he a senior?
He'll be soon. Thank you, Mayor, by the time the project is done.
George.
Thank you.
You're a good salesman, George. Okay. Any other questions or comments? No other questions or comments? Entertain a motion to close the public portion.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Hey, George, if I could talk to you after the meeting. No, the other George. Yes. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So moved. Do we need a vote on the closing the public?
No, I took it.
Okay.
All in favor for adjournment? Did you have something to say, sir? No. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening.
Sounded like him.
Happy birthday.
Michael, it's your birthday?
Hey, I'm not forgetting it.
Birthday. Is that why you didn't call me all day?